Tricia, have you ever been to the Crystal Mill?
You know what, Ken? I was there a couple of years ago in October. My friends and I got a reservation at Avalanche Ranch, which is very hard to do. We had to go like on a Monday night. That's how popular this is. And we drove our friend's Jeep up to that. That is the most beautiful place I think I've ever seen. And the water is just such an amazing color of blue. It's worth the crazy drive. It was a little scary, but worth it once we got there.
I agree with you. And I'll take our viewers through it. We can bring the footage up. There's a lot of driving in this. I'm not trying to encourage people to go, but I'm also kind of showing the drive, maybe to discourage a little bit. But it's in Marble. Marble is named because they used to mine a lot of marble there. In fact, they took marble out of this area that is in the Lincoln Monument. It's also at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. On the left there, that's slow grooving. I'm going to talk about
Yeah.
that in a moment. But I jumped on my dirt bike, went cruising on up. Now, this is a four-wheel drive trail. It's about 5.5 miles, just about 11 miles out and back, and you will encounter a lot of different people up there, whether they be hikers or bikers, and there are areas that you literally cannot turn around. So you have to
I
be very
know.
aware, right, as you're going around these turns. This guy was kind enough. He saw me coming up on my dirt bike, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, just creep on by me. So I snuck by him. Couple of water crossings here and there, but I show this because this is not the place to take your Tesla or your lowrider.
No.
This is definitely a four-wheel drive trail. And as you mentioned, Tricia, you go along the Crystal River. I went past the actual where the Crystal Mill was to the town of Crystal. This is where you can purchase a $10 pass so that you can actually go down to the waterfall, which is what I want to
Oh,
do.
wow.
This is on private land, a beautiful mill, and although they call it the Crystal Mill, yeah, I had to, Tricia, just a quick swim. Although they call it a mill, it was actually a power area. It was to make compressed air so that they could work in the mines. It was constructed in the 1800s, a beautiful spot. Yes, you can swim there. However, you do need to pay the $10 to walk the little trail down there. It is privately owned, and for good reason. A lot of people get upset it's privately owned, but I love it because
Yeah.
they are protecting this resource. And then there, you must stop at Slow Groove and Barbecue. I had the turkey and beans and slaw, and it was delicious. And that's my staycation.
Oh
Okay,
my
and
gosh.
maybe you and I can banter a little bit about the actual mill. But I always thought it was like a sawmill. In the past, it's one of the most iconic places in Colorado, especially photographed. But it's actually they had a vertical wheel there, and it would produce compressed air, and that would help them in the mining operations. It was very
Wow.
cool, very historic.
Oh yeah, it's very historic and it's been on the cover of the phone book, back when the phone book was there. I remember that we had that in the drawer. I mean, it's just so amazing. And that must have been so cold. Was it freezing?
Well, Trisha, as you noticed, that little extra layer of fat right before I jumped in as insulation. But the thing I really wanted to talk about as this goes is that it is on private land. You go through public property or open space to get there. But once you're there, it is actually owned by a family for several generations.
Wow.
And you can view it for free. You can,
Yeah.
come along the road and look at it for free. But if you want to go down the trail and actually indulge and take that polar plunge, it is $10. And you know what? I decided to pay $20, even knowing I was on my own, because the money that they have for that, they put into protecting and restoring and prolonging the life of the
Yeah.
Crystal Mill. So if you've got a few bucks out there and you want to make a donation, I would suggest doing it. Again, don't think, wow, look at that spot, I'm going to go there. Ken said go. Make sure that I would say go on a weekday because weekends are busy. During the summer months, it's good. During the fall, when the leaves are changing, it's very busy up there. And to the dirt bikers out there, this was my first time taking my dirt bike up, and that was definitely the way to do it because it was easy to get around the turns. That 5.5 miles took about 15 minutes. Real quick, as I said, kind of staying close to home with the price of gas and whatnot. This is such an
Yeah.
economical trip to drive over. I came through Glenwood Canyon, through Carbondale, up over McClure Pass, and here to Kebler Corner. This was my destination. But to get over to Marble is only like maybe an hour and a half. The drive from Marble up to the Crystal Mill, that's going to take you about an hour if you are in a four-wheel drive vehicle. As I mentioned, in the dirt bike, it was much faster. And again, you want a high clearance vehicle and whatnot. But I'm just suggesting these things because sometimes travel is difficult, and we have to remember that it is so close to our
Yeah.
home for us to have the ability to sneak out and do these little excursions. Even if you only have one day, this is an easy day trip to do.